That's right.
There you go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. Tonight, for our group coaching, we are talking about AI and the AI revolution and AI to grow your sales. So, as I was just telling everybody, last month, January 2024, I was in Las Vegas for CES and traffic and conversion. And we spent a lot of time talking about AI, which everybody's talking about right now. So this is the best of the best of some of the tools that I took away, some of the tools that I'm implementing in our business, and some of the tools that you might want to use to grow sales in your business. So here is an overview of everything that we're going to cover tonight. And it is a lot. I recognize that this is not, you're not all going to need all of this. But if you take one or two things away that you can use in your business, then that is a win. So I also want to mention that there are thousands of AI platforms out there right now. They are popping up left and right. So the ones I'm talking about and honing in on during this conversation are the ones that I trust, the ones that I use, and the ones that I recommend my clients use. So keep that in mind. And with that being said, we're going to jump right in to start with AI automated video. So, all right, content creation is a big, important topic for everybody right now. I think we talked last year about the fact that the line in the sand was kind of drawn for social media content creation between the photography world and the video world. And if you were going to be on the cutting edge of this change and this movement, you need to be switching to video. It's not just about curating beautiful photos anymore. Last year was the switch to video. So now that content creation and videos every day are more important than ever, you have a ton of content. And if you don't, you need a ton of content. So like with our clients, we do batch content creation. So we'll get together with our clients 3, 4, 5 times a year, and we record all of our content. So in each setting, each day, we'll record in an 8-hour day of somewhere between 40 to 60 videos. And then all those videos, that means scripts are done in advance, talking points are done in advance, wardrobe changes are thought about, locations are pre-gamed. And then the editing, let's say you shoot for 8 hours. Okay, the editing is going to take you 2, 3, maybe 4 times longer than it took you to shoot it. All right, because you need to think about your transitions. You need to think about your closed captions. You need to think about cutting in B-roll and other things to make it more interesting. All right, so it's not just video, it's well-produced, good, solid video. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Rachel, if I'm going to do great video, how am I going to use AI? You're absolutely going to find a way to make AI work for you. So there's pros and cons to each one. And let's talk about these 5. Okay. So Get Munch is okay. It's something that you can try. I know that people are saying it's like a #1 AI video repurposing platform, and that's great. I personally am not using this one.
What?
Somebody needs to.
Tomorrow.
Okay. But you're welcome to give it a try. And it is nice that they give keywords that support the video automatically. So that's kind of a bonus. All right, Repurpose House. I can't say enough good things about Repurpose House. So if you're one of those people who has a ton of content that you have done elsewhere in your life, you've done podcasts, you've done speaking engagements, you've recorded content, and you have a ton of things out there in the world, if you give Repurpose House links to all that content, they will pull down those videos, they will manually edit them, or maybe they're using a combination of humans and AI, but for like a monthly fee, they will give you more than you bargained for. They'll also adhere to your brand guidelines. I mean, they're really, really great, and they'll give you a new video every day. So I really like them. Now, Opus Clip is sort of similar, but you need to self-serve yourself the whole way through. So let's say this call, for instance, this group coaching. If I wanted to take this group coaching and put it into Opus Clip, they are going to then pull out maybe 10, 12, 15 different clips You can tell it the length that you're looking for. It'll give you a summary. And the cool thing is it gives you a rating. It'll say like, this is a 99% amazing clip, or this is like 65% good, or this one's 22% good. Like it rates itself, which is kind of fascinating. It'll give you closed captioning based on your brand guidelines that you input, but you're not going to get any B-roll. You're not going to get any like transitions. You're not going to get any fancy stuff. Like it's AI driven. So just keep that in mind. It's not like having a real editor, whereas Repurpose House will give you a little bit of that. Let's see. Video AI, that one, the editing tools are better than the others. Like when Opus gives you something, you kind of get what you get and you say thank you very much. But Video AI lets you edit it a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind. And then Creatify, I like that it does give you even more control over customization. And speaking of customization, I'm not talking right now about CapCut, but if you need to edit videos and let's say you've got like, let's say you did a day at the Super Bowl, right? Like we were at Media Row, and we had a bunch of videos and photos. We put it into CapCut and you can ask it to auto cut together with transitions and effects and all of that. And we'll do a pretty decent job. And then it lets you customize and edit on top of what the AI made. So it gives you like a head start rather than just starting from scratch. So CapCut with their auto cut feature lets you put up to 15 videos. And that would also be worth, but you need to give yourself at least an hour or two to edit that clip. I mean, if you can do it faster than that, good for you, but it's still going to be like a more manual process. So, by the way, if you guys do have comments or chats or whatever, like feel free to put those in anytime and we can talk about them as we keep going. So, all right. Email platforms. All right, that's our second topic. Now this isn't a totally AI thing, but it sort of can be. And by the way, this presentation we'll put on the back end of Yes for members, so you guys can reference it and pull from it as much as you need. So we like to imagine you're an e-commerce business. You sell products online. There is no better platform than Klaviyo for that. I mean, you could use Drip, you could use Constant Contact, you can use others, but the automation with like abandoned cart and post-purchase follow-ups, re-engagement, like to drive more revenue for your business, like that's best in class is through Klaviyo. It also links with Shopify and the other e-commerce platforms really, really well. Also, the advanced segmentation is something I want to talk about because you can customize it based on people's behavior. So let's say somebody is a super engaged, they open your email whenever you send it. So you can send it to just your 10-day openers, or you can send something to your 15-day openers, or your 30-day openers, or your 90-day. People really appreciate and respect the fact that you're not just hammering your email list like to everybody all the time. So you can be specific and customize and segment your list really well in Klaviyo, which is also going to help. And it's going to help with their repurchasing, and it's going to help with the way that they stay engaged and that they continue to build a relationship with you. So Beehive is another really popular tool. This is a good way to monetize newsletters, and it's really great for subscriptions. You have that, which you can still do with Klaviyo too, but I wanted to at least give you guys two options. So that's just another one to keep an eye on. Okay. Let's keep going. So MailChimp is tried and true for, let's say you are like a very novice email user designer, and you want things as like simple as possible. I'd say MailChimp is for you. Constant Contact, you're small, maybe like a medium-sized business. You see a lot of people having success with Constant Contact there, but you have to have more design chops. So you have to probably have an agency or somebody who knows a little bit more about what they're doing, and it's a little bit harder to navigate. Substack has also been really popular for paid subscriptions for newsletters. And then Squarespace is great if you have a Squarespace website, because then it integrates your analytics and it integrates your sales all through back into Squarespace, which, if you're a Squarespace user, You might be in e-commerce because they're starting to offer that now, but you're probably more of like a service-based business or a like a brochure style website. So that would be a good place for you. All right. So far, so good. Now, no commerce. This is it works with Klaviyo as a post-purchase add-on. Okay. It's something that you might want to look at, especially if you're an e-commerce business. And that being said, by the way, there is this company that I learned about today that if I had learned about it any earlier, I would have put it in the deck. But it's worth mentioning right here because I got served up this experience. It's called One Click Upsell by Zipify, Zipify. So what happened is I was making an e-commerce purchase and it was a post-purchase funnel at the cart. So I basically, let's say I bought this water bottle and then while like that purchase was finishing, it was like, oh, would you like a discount on another case of this water that we know you like? Oh, would you like, you know, and then it asked me like 2 or 3 other things to upsell in the post. So that's the post-purchase, like pop-up world upsells that are happening, which is fantastic and amazing. And that's also an AI driven thing because you're going to set these and then as people buy things, it'll customize based on their selection. So no commerce is one to look at. One click upsell is another one to look at. And this is ways that people are generating more revenue through their businesses. So, and you can too. All right. Website builders. Okay. We're not going to talk about all the different website builders out there, but let's talk about the most popular ones that our clients are using and that you might be using. There's no need, by the way, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If your website is on Wix and you are super happy with Wix and it works for you and you can understand it, then great. If you are a WordPress user and you love it, there's not many people who do, but if you are, good for you. Stay there. The most important thing is that you are comfortable with the platform that you're on and that it has the tools and the integrations that you want and need and are looking for. So we're going to talk about that in a minute, about the different integrations and getting the different programs to talk to each other. But I just wanted to say these are kind of the most common ones that we're seeing our clients on these days. And we're kind of getting to that point in website building where there are clear winners and there are clear losers. Like nobody wants to build on the GoDaddy website building platform. It's absolutely atrocious. And I would say get off it. But if you're on any of these, you're fine. If you're not on one of these, we should talk. And maybe you're a hospital and you're custom coded, or you're an airline and you're custom coded, in which case that makes perfect sense for those industries. When you have HIPAA laws and you have travel and FDA restrictions, great. Otherwise, one of these is going to fit most of the businesses out there. Okay. Okay, so workflow automation, and this is where I'm talking about the back end of how your website is going to automate with AI and with your emails and all work together. So there's this program that I have a love-hate relationship with, and it's like a frenemy. It's called Zapier. Now, Zapier is, let's say this. I think you guys can probably all relate. If any of you have ever tried to contact customer service at Facebook or Meta, then you probably didn't get a response or ever were able to talk to a real person. That is exactly the experience you'll get with Zapier. You will never get to talk to a real person and they will never hold your hand and help you through it. But that being said, it is a really amazing platform and it can do great things, just like Facebook is an amazing platform and can do great things for you. But what happens is your website, when somebody buys something or someone subscribes or logs in or becomes a member or whatever, you can set up that's a trigger. You can set up different triggers and then different actions, and then a zap will happen, which basically connects your back end of your website to talk to your email program or to talk to your Google worksheet or to talk to your Gmail or to auto send emails or to make a post happen or to put someone into your CRM database. Like all these different workflow pieces can be automated through Zapier. You just can't get them to help you set it up. You have to either figure it out yourself or you have to hire somebody who knows how to do it because it is not user friendly. But it's also really great because once you've invested the time to set it up, you don't have to do it again. It's sort of like setting up an email flow through Klaviyo or something. If it's a post-purchase flow, it could have 10, 12 post-purchase touch points. Well, that's like building a mini website. It's a lot. But once you do it, you can almost set it and forget it for maybe 6 months, a year. You want to leave it alone. You don't have to refresh it very often. So keep in mind that Zapier is a great tool when you're ready for that level of automated workflow. And you have that kind of repetition of things that need to get added or done over and over for customers. This might be a good solution for you. Okay. Now, ChatGPT. I imagine we've all heard of it. Some of us are using it. Some of us are using it better than others. The magic in the secret sauce on ChatGPT is just the prompts, right? It's only as smart as you tell it to be. It's only going to answer the questions that you're the thing that I heard about this that I really liked is it's not a search engine. It's not searching. It's an answer service. So you tell it, and I could give you guys like some prompt suggestions if you want, but like very much like you could say, hey, listen, you are a social media marketing expert. You need to create a content calendar for the next month. These are the topics I want you to cover. These are the mandatories. Like you have to teach it. All right. And then tell it, oh, that's on the right track. That's a good start. Now modify it like this, like build and build and build and build. And you're having a dialogue with this assistant is the way I like to think about it. So ChatGPT is only as good as you teach it to be. And you can't just assume that it's going to search for the answer. You have to tell it things. I love to give ChatGPT something that I wrote in haste and then say, rewrite this and make it sound more professional, or rewrite this to make it shorter, or use bigger language or scholarly language, whatever, right? That's a great place. And then you still have to kind of tweak it a little bit, or you should. So that's my 2 cents on the soapbox for there. Okay. Now, but what about the other, copywriting assistants are out there, right? So Jasper is another one that people have been having some success with. So that's another one that you could try if you're looking for an alternative to ChatGPT. There are a ton of ChatGPT alternatives there. I mean, even if you go onto LinkedIn, it'll like, and you're going to like leave a post, it'll ask you if you want to use ChatGPT or their own, chatbot, writer, helper, or if you're like making a connection with somebody on LinkedIn, it's going to ask you like if you wanted AI to write the introductory note. And it's actually amazing because it'll pull things and be like, oh, it's so nice to connect with you. I see that we share a contact here and that we both worked here back in the 90s, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, like, even like the LinkedIn bot is really good and creepily, and then it'll say, do you want more options? Oh, you don't like that one? Let me give you another one. It's like, oh, our kids go to the same school together. It's like, oh my God, how did it know? But anyways, so you could work in a program or you could pull it out and work separately and then copy paste. So that's another thought. All right. Text to speech, AI voice generators. All right. I'm creeped out by this as much as I'm excited about it. So 11 Labs is a tool that you can subscribe. There's a free version, or there's like a $1 a month, or there's like $100 a month, different plan, depending on if you want to do a little bit or a lot. Like for instance, like I just used 11 Labs to do an audio version of my book. All right. First of all, I trained 11 Labs. I gave him 3 different voice samples of me talking, me reading, me using different inflections, and it did my whole book for me for $100. It was amazing. And the book is like over 4 hours long. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to have the patience to sit and read it. That would have taken me days. It wouldn't have taken me 4 hours to read it. It would have taken me probably 12 hours and then editing. And anyways, it was amazing. Anything you type in there, it will say with your voice, which is very cool. Other options that you might want to check out in case 11 Labs isn't for you, Overdub, Well Said, you've got other options there. I always like to give you guys options, but I think 11 Labs is as best as it comes. And I like that, like I had to say like the name of the high school I went to, and it was like pronounced weird, but you can teach it to pronounce things the way you would say it. So I also like that. Okay, then once let's say you've written things in AI or you've audioed AI, you want to like sound more human. You want to fact check it. You don't want to get caught. You being an AI person, you can use Grammarly, which I have installed, and it works like it works on all my emails, my text messages, like everything on my computer is run through Grammarly. Quillbot is another one. I like that. I think it's free. Maybe that one runs on all my stuff too. Anyways, I use them all. And then Originality is another one. So you can, as you're writing, as you're having AI help you, you can run it back through here for help. Okay. And this is even like next level creepy. AI generated avatars and voices. So I actually tried the Hey Gen one, and I just need to spend more time with it. But you can integrate like your Chat GPT and your Zapier and your Canva, and you can create people. There's actually AI Instagram accounts that were started by brands and companies that are, I'm not kidding you, they are influencers. There are fake influencers that are not real people that have been AI generated, that are, it's just like, it's a whole new world that we're living in. So you can have these people be ambassadors for your brands. You can have it be you. You can record yourself, and then you can, like I saw this guy at Traffic and Conversion, and he did a whole podcast with video podcast, which was him, but it wasn't him. It was his AI generated avatar, and it was kind of creepy. But then he also did the same one in Spanish. And he was like, oh yeah, I have a Hispanic audience. So then I just had it translate. And even his mouth on his avatar then was speaking in Spanish. And it was his same voice in Spanish. He does not speak Spanish, but it was dubbed that way. By the way, when I did my first version of my book through 11 Labs, I accidentally output the whole thing in Japanese. It was really cool. And I almost thought I'd keep it, but I didn't because I don't really have a big following there, but it's available. Okay. And then other alternatives, by the way, that list down below. If you don't want to work with HeyGen, like these are some of the other ones that I would recommend giving them a try. So, and a lot of these all give you free trials. Okay. Now, this space I really am fascinated with, because as we are all building our online sales and businesses, we all need more leads, right? So you can purchase leads through Seamless AI or ZoomInfo. And both of these I have tried, and both of them I like, and both of them have like free trials. And I think you can do like 10 contacts a day, and you can segment the list, and you can buy, your target, which is awesome. Then the second piece, because then you're like, all right, I have these lists, I have these people, right? Like, how do I talk to them? All right, so Kixie and Droop and Sly, those are what I have found after like doing calls with these companies, they work best when you have a sales team, because they all wanted you to be hooked up to a CRM program. They all wanted you to have salespeople that had regular sales hours. It wasn't just a ringless voicemail that like automatically went without having somebody available to like answer the phone or answer questions in real time. So I've used the first step, and the second step I personally have not, because I don't have a sales team and I can't be a sales person while I'm doing all the other stuff. So but I do like that you can place thousands of calls, and if you have a sales team lined up, these could be good tools for you. So, and then again, this all can automate, and this all can work through with Zapier, and this can like connect as somebody comes in and they're a hot lead, then you can link them up to your CRM program, or link them through to your email, or add them to your list, and all the different, journey that you want your customer to go through, right? So Our sales teams are getting smarter. They're working with all of these tools as they're reaching out to us, and we should be doing it too. Okay, AI photo editing. I think we're all like pretty familiar with AI photo editing. I mean, a couple months ago, Photoshop was doing all these really cool ads, Adobe Photoshop for AI, but now it's like everybody else is totally caught up, right? I mean, it's very simple from Facetune, to like some of these other ones that are a little bit harder to use. But honestly, I mean, everyone's using AI with their photography now. You can do it in Canva, you can do it in Photoshop. I mean, it's just rampant. I think the art of the original photo is just not what it used to be. Our society just not working that way anymore. So anyways, lots of tools available. All right. Now there's just some, I didn't know what to call this category, so I'm just going to call it like magic. So Runway creates videos using text prompts. So basically you just type out what you want and it'll create a video of it. Or DID, it'll allow you to create photorealistic avatars and digital humans. I mean, this is just like where our industry is going, right? Midjourney is another one. If you guys want to have some fun with AI, like these are three that I highly recommend you check out. And you'll notice when you go to these websites, I mean, they are still in their infancy. I mean, they're going to continue to fine tune. And just like how with the website builders, we're kind of narrowing it down to like our favorites over the years. Same thing with all these different AI platforms. They're not all going to make it, right? So just be aware. But we are using AI in more and more different ways. So we all know, we've heard the term SEO for years and years, right? All right. By the way, SEO really just means using keywords on your website, having fresh content on your website, and getting backlinks. Like it's really that simple. So, but that being said, keywords are still very important. So Answer the Public, I really like. You put in like your different topic and it'll spit out all these different keyword options for you for free. So I like that. I mean, if you were going to use SEMrush, which we'll get to in a minute, it's very expensive, but the Answer the Public is great. And then when you're on the website, you can choose to have this beautiful graphic circle, or you can actually just choose to see it in a list or in a chart, which is a little bit easier to digest. But I thought that wheel looked kind of cool. Somebody spent a lot of time on that. So Moz is another one for keyword research, because keywords, I mean, SEO, even though it just is really those three things, keywords still matter, and the search engines are still crawling websites. They're still looking for fresh content. They still want to make sure that your website is, using the keywords in the most effective way. So Moz is another one. SEMrush, I really like. I've liked it for a long time. We subscribe and pay astronomical fees for this SaaS service. SaaS is software as a service. And it's great for competitors, it's great for keywords, it's great for content, and it also helps with analytics. So that's just another one to have, like another tool to have in your tool chest. All right, so let's say you are a visual learner and you work at a company and you put together like a workflow or a chart, or you want to visually show something to one of your customers. So imagine you're in an office in a boardroom and you like start drawing on the whiteboard, or you are putting up post-its, right? To kind of like show like visually like how something works together. Take it to the next level. You can use Link Reader or Whimsical to do that on the computer. So it's the same sort of experience that we've known to love with the whiteboard or with the post-it notes, but it's with diagramming, really easy to use through your computer. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I make diagrams and I make, what do you call it? on Canva, you can make like an infographic or something, but you'll see on here, this is definitely not that. This is kind of a very different flow chart, wireframe, mind mappy kind of stuff. So, but it's something to definitely check out if you need this for presentations or working sessions with your clients or with your team. So there's that. Video editing, I know we've talked a little bit about this already. Descript is another one that I didn't mention, but it might be worth checking out. And by the way, I didn't mention this. CapCut is not only available on your phone, but it's also on your computer, on your desktop. The interface is different and takes a little getting used to, but it's also pretty great. Splice is another one that's been around for a while, and it might be worth you checking it out. But again, similar to what I said with the website builder, you just need to use a program that works for you. It shouldn't matter what your friends use. It's got to be what works best for you. So that is always my advice. Just get comfortable with a platform that you like. Okay, so tracking. All right, I hate tracking as much as I love it. By the way, there's a new blog that I just wrote and published today about how Google Chrome is getting rid of their cookies, which is going to be a huge adjustment for anyone that buys digital media and that does retargeting ads. So right now with tracking, you've got Triple Whale for tracking. You've got Hyros, you've got Google Analytics. You also might be using Microsoft Clarity, which is a free service. They actually tout that we are free and we will always be free, which is kind of cool. But as Google Chrome is getting rid of their third-party cookies, I think it's going to change the landscape again for digital marketers who buy media and who cookie everyone's website. Because if you notice, every website you go to has a little like, by clicking on this website, you accept their cookies. And that was a disclaimer that legally we all had to add a couple years ago. So now the rules are changing. So, but that's just the system of what's happening right now. That things are changing all the time. And analytics. Okay, so I know we talked a little bit about a few of these, but Supermetrics is also a good one, or Funnel is another one that you might want to check out. So, depending on your needs, like not everybody needs all these tools. You might not need to be tracking everything, or you might have a client that absolutely requires you provide monthly analytics and they want to see success metrics, or, so it's just going to depend on what you need and that you're using a system that you're comfortable with. By the way, I like the way Funnel lays things out and the way that they visually show things. I think it's great when companies, make the extra effort to make it clear of what they're giving you. So I'm a fan of Funnel. I think that might be good. Now I have said this before, but I'm going to show you a couple slides here that are worth repeating. The AI landscape is really big. These are just some creative ones of different platforms that are available. And let's look at this another way. Research versus text versus video. I mean, you'll notice some of these are familiar. I've mentioned them today and we've taken a deeper dive into them, but some of them I obviously didn't mention. There's just too many. There won't always be this many, like there will be leaders of the pack, but right now it is the time where everybody is rushing to get their AI out in front of everybody else. So, on the left here, this is some AI tools that have been out for a while. On the right, there's some newer ones. So this just is an ever evolving landscape. And I bet you next year, January 2025, I'm going to be singing a whole other tune of things with, after CES and traffic and conversion. By the way, I just put a little bit of a glossary together in case any of these terms that I may have gone over, I sometimes I'd expect that everybody speaks marketing jargon. So search engine results, that's SERP, ROAS. I don't know if I mentioned that. That's like a return on ad spend. If you're looking at ad dollars, that's one of the KPIs that, clients want to see, especially with an e-commerce business. CRM, that's customer relationship management. So that's like if you are working with a sales team and you're keeping track of your leads and when you followed up with them and how often and what you sent them and keeping it all organized. So, I mean, back in, I don't know, 20 years ago, like that was an Excel spreadsheet. It was a manual CRM program of my spreadsheet. Now there's a whole platform that helps you stay more organized. And by the way, by design, I'm not even touching on like, Monday or any of those other productivity software systems. That's like a whole other presentation. So not going there. Then at the end of this, I think because this is really like a 50,000 foot view of AI, it might be interesting for us to spend the last 10 minutes or so kind of talking about what do you guys want to do a deeper dive on? Like, what are some of the things on your to-do list or that are on your goals for this year for your business that AI can help you with? And I can prepare a deep dive presentation that almost walks us through all the steps of like how to do an AI generated podcast or an AI generated webinar. Or, maybe we do want to do a training session on Zapier and we all go through and we all create Zaps, right? Or I walk you through 2 or 3 different examples. So if you don't have to answer me this now, but if there's anything that pops to mind or that came up during this that you think, oh yeah, I need to know more, then now would be a good time to tell me. So with that, I think we have some questions, so I'm going to address those. And Rachel will have the presentation on the back end. Yes, I will put the presentation on the back end of Yes in our document library where we have all of our other tools that you can download. So that will be available to you guys. Next question, is there an AI platform that can create a document like you give it a scan from the textbook that you want to look better than just copying? Oh, Heidi, I love that question and I don't know, but I want that function. There must be. Let me get back to you on that because if not, then I want to create that. I'm just kidding. Someone probably created it already. It's got to be out there. I just let me do a little digging and I'll get back to you. All right, there may have been other questions. Let's see. All right, there was the Midjourney question that got answered. The connection bot, yep, that's Zapier. All right. Cool. All right, Rod, you want to chime in a little bit?
Yes, Rachel, my gosh, my head is swimming and I don't know whether I should be excited or scared. So thank you for all the work that you put into this. And I do have some questions that maybe some others have right out of the gate. And the first one, when you went to this convention, this AI convention, was there any talk about, especially in today's world, about plagiarism and plagiarism with ad content and stealing other people's ideas? Where are the lines being drawn with that, especially with the last question that Heidi just asked, being able to take a textbook and then have it rewritten basically. Are they talking about the legal aspects of this? I know we've brushed that topic a couple of different times in different venues, but that's my first question.
All right, so the answer is yes and no. At the conference, nobody talked about intellectual property laws or copyright infringements, not once at all. Now, that being said, I had a separate meeting with an attorney's office, and this webinar that I sat in with them was all about that, intellectual property and trademarking of AI. And it was fascinating because the problem that's happening is, let's say, you're an advertising agency doing work on behalf of a client. And in your contract, it says any of the work done by that agency is owned by the client, right? Now, let's say part of that work was shot by a photographer or a videographer who claims that they own part of it. Then let's say somebody from the account team ran it through AI or the design department changed the background. and used an AI platform. Now you've got an AI platform that says that they own parts of the rights of that. So basically, it's very much muddied the water. So what the attorney was saying is that it's a mess, and they're dealing with a ton of legal cases right now that are going to be setting the precedent, but it's not set yet because it's too new, and each case has been so different that it hasn't been completely established. But the best advice they gave was to outline it in the contract in the beginning, before work is produced, as you're going into things, especially with bigger clients, bigger agencies, bigger budgets, where that is historically been an issue. With all of us, with our independently owned businesses and brands, it's less of an issue. But it's still something that we're going to need to keep an eye on and talk about probably in like a year or two.
Okay, thanks. So that's just brushing across the surface with that. And that brings up the next question too. And I guess maybe this gets into the legal liability thing, and part of it's just the scariness of some of this with the voice to, taking your text from your book and turning it into your voice. Is anyone talking about people stealing other people's identities, for example? There's always been the thing where, the kid calls his grandparents and, it's somebody in Jamaica saying, yeah, I need bail money. Grandma and grandpa send me, $1,000. And now it's in that person's voice. I mean, are there any protections that we can use to protect ourselves and our businesses with some of this stuff? When we put ourselves out there like this, are there any protections that we can be looking for, or should we?
Yeah, it's a very privacy is a privilege, right? I mean, there is the school of thought that, privacy is more important than ever, and we're going to be paying for privacy. Right now, we're all screaming, look at me, look at me, look at me, right? Like, I'm out there. Well, at some point, like, that actually might not be such a good thing to be out there so much. Identity theft is massively on the rise. And there are companies that are starting to capitalize on security. Now, the other thing that I talked to my parents about, just on a personal note, and my grandparents, is establishing a safe word that is like a code word, kind of like how like maybe you have an alarm on your house and everybody knows the code, right? Like there has to be a special code, because yes, anyone could easily clone my voice from the book or from any of my podcasts or from YouTube or any of the interviews I've given. Like it would be easy to do. So they need to know that like we all have a code word. And if I can't answer the code word, then it's not really me. And maybe there's a better way to do it, but so far that's all I've gotten, because I mean, and even like fake accounts, you can report those to Meta all day long. You can report it to YouTube all day long. They don't care. They don't do anything. There's absolutely nothing that you can do except for just keep reporting it or stop putting yourself out there. And, depending on your business, that may or may not be a valid option for your company. So
Right.
it's, now I chose to go on the offense with that, because I feel like if you have enough content out there that's authentic and genuine and like recent and current, and then I feel like that's like being on the offense versus being on the defense of that conversation. But I don't know if that's the right answer. That's just what I did.
Yeah. Well, I think the point is we need to be aware of that and be thinking about it as we walk into this AI domain. Last question, then I'll open it up to anyone else. I'm sure there's others as well. You mentioned several of these are free. Is there a range with some of these? Is it mostly monthly apps or yearly subscriptions for a lot of these? I can see practical applications with several of these. So is this just part of doing business in the future, that we need to start budgeting in our advertising and marketing for AI app purchases and that sort of thing?
Yes. I mean, you don't realize it when you're setting up your business, how many services and tools you're paying for. historically you're like, oh, okay, I need a bank account and my bank is going to charge me $25 a month to have a business account or something like that, right? And you're like, all right, well, maybe you have to pay $20 a year for your domain for your website. But now you're paying for Canva, or you're paying for Photoshop, you're paying for Microsoft, you're paying for Google, maybe. You're paying for all these tools. AI definitely needs to be a part of that mix. You need to be thinking about all the different tools and software. You're paying for MailChimp, you're paying for Constant Contact, whatever it is. But start with the free versions and see if you like it, or see if it's going to work for you, or contact the rep and get a free trial for 7 days or 14 days. Because you may find that it's going to be your new best friend, or you might find that you don't use it at all. Like when I first signed up for ChatGPT, I did the free version for like a couple months. And then I realized, yeah, okay, like I am maxing out here. I need to pay for it. All right, well, fine. Like there I am. But it's kind of like that with any of your subscription services now. Like, are you going to pay for all the different streaming video services? Like Amazon Prime Video and Netflix and, Max and Showtime and Hulu. It's like, my God, do I need them all? So same thing with AI, like do the free service, give it a try, see if you need it or like it, or if it's working for you. Also, I feel like we should get to the point where we should be able to share, kind of like how, remember, everyone was sharing their Netflix passwords.
Right.
Like, why can't we share a little bit? If you have a team, like, why can't you all just use the same? So there should be some economies of saving there. By the way, I learned of another new platform today. Cool, of course I did. Learning of new ones all the time. This one's called ManyChat. This is an AI chatbot for your Instagram DMs, and they will work with you to pre-draft and pre-answer a ton of questions and answers that encourages people to chat with you. Now, I've heard that people know that they're chatting with a bot, but they don't care. So I don't know yet. I haven't made any decisions on using this one, but I was looking at pricing, and like, again, like they have a free, they have a pro, they have different plans. Like, yeah, you're going to have to budget all that.
All
So
right. Thanks.
lots of options.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure others have questions. I know Jeremy has one on there now also, if you can address that one. And I'm gonna be quiet and let everyone else ask their questions as well. Again, Rachel, thank you. Amazing.
What was the question? Did I miss it?
Can you use HeyGen to create content by using AI as an avatar to promote your social media platforms?
Be more specific. Tell me more.
Go ahead and unmute Jeremy and ask exactly what you want.
So if I was looking at I'm looking at a business model where I'm promoting a product, and not that, I'm not a handsome gentleman, but if I wanted to use something that might be a little more, I guess, friendly on the sense of, being able to use that platform to promote my social media. Can you create an avatar that would do that, so that, let's say that I was doing, like a social media on making cocktails, for example, and I wanted to use an avatar for explaining the cocktail and using the cocktail. Is that something that I can do with that platform? Instead of using my own mug, then that would be something I could create.
100%. Yes. Yes. Thank you for bringing that question to life a little bit more. Yeah, definitely. And that could be the new face of your brand. It absolutely doesn't have to be you. And maybe that's a good way to get around privacy too, because then it's not your face out there. And it could be your voice, or you could use somebody else's voice. That's also an option.
Thank you.
Audio.
I saw this video today, and it was a video on, oh God, I don't know, it was something silly, like, how to make a casserole or something, but it was Tom Cruise's voice, but it wasn't really Tom Cruise, but it sounded just like him. Like, I had to be savvy enough to know that it wasn't really him. That kind of stuff, I'm sure people are going to get dinged on, because they've got the legal teams to come after people for that. But for all the rest of us normal people, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Unless you really want to use my voice, in which case it'll cost you $1. No, just kidding. All right. Any other questions? Think about what you guys want to know more about, and I'm happy to customize something. I will send out the recording. I'll put it up and send it out to everybody. And it normally goes out like in the next, 24, 48 hours and on our group text, and then it's on our private page, and you can always access it there. Anthony, question. Yes, go ahead.
I'm not sure if you have used the ringless voicemails or not, because I know we touched briefly on it, but do you have any rough like return on how many people actually call back on the ringless voicemails versus actually calling the people and then just leaving like still a voicemail, but at least it calls?
So here's the trick with that. I originally thought that it would just like direct to voicemail, like awesome, like that would be really cool, but it does still ring their phone. And then if they don't answer, it can leave a voicemail that you've pre-recorded. But if they answer, you have to have a sales team or salesperson there to actually say hello. Like you can't just bot that in. Now you could have some pre-recorded, like a pre-recorded conversation with an AI bot that like gets them talking and going. But eventually you'll need a salesperson available to step in. So
Okay, so this is kind of more like one of those robo dialers where it calls, a bunch of people, kind of like what the wholesalers use.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's like a beefed up version of that. Yeah, good times. I've been getting a lot of political ones recently, given that it's the election year and stuff. And I'm also getting a lot of like those automated political texts. Are you guys getting those yet? Oh, they're coming. Yeah. So if they can do it, we can do it too. Oh, anyways.
That
Right.
brings up a new thing. This was something that happened to me, and I'll throw it out there because there's probably an AI program dealing with all of this. And that was, somebody asked me to take a survey, a political survey, and it ended up taking me down a trail to convince me that I should be voting a certain way for a certain person. And all the reasons why I was wrong for, thinking things. It was crazy, but it was obviously AI generated, but it was in a survey format. So very creative use of the AI bots out there.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see innovations in this space, for a while. Yeah. But I'm really enjoying it. It's never a dull moment, and no 2 days are the same because there's always something new changing in this landscape. And that is impacting the way that we are building our websites, the way that we're engaging with each other on social media, the way that we're making money is changing as fast as these programs are changing. So stay on top of it, keep leading the charge, staying ahead of your industry and your competitors to help drive more sales for your business, and to be sensitive to your customer and to their needs and listen to them and what they want and what they're asking for. So, these are tools that are not replacing anyone. They're just making us better at our offering. Okay. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I know it was a lot. There's a group text that some of you are on. I think some people are not on, and I'm gonna send a note to Jim to make sure that we get everybody added in our group text so that we can all stay connected until our Rod, who's leading the talk next Monday?
I am next Monday, and it has to do with, if anyone wants a heads up on it, better look at my assignment. The date, 2/20. Devotion is a mindset. So we're going to be talking about mindset, which this is actually part of our AI thing right here. We have to get ourselves in a whole new mindset to adopt and adapt in this industry. So that'll be next week, and I'm on. It's not going to be near as fancy as what Rachel always does, but a little old school goes a long ways, doesn't it?
Cool. Hey, one last thing, Anthony, I don't have your cell phone right now. If you could just, before we hang up, if you could just direct message it to me, then I'll make sure you get added on the group text. I think I have everybody else's. Oh, that would be great. Thank you very much. Got it.
All right, guys. Great call, Rachel. Thank you very much.
All right. Happy Monday
Thank
night.
you, Samantha, for stepping in for Jim.
Nice meeting you guys.
Nice to meet you all too. Jeremy, thanks. Anthony, a pleasure to see
Thank
you
you.
face to face.
Yeah, of course. Finally, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll give both of you a shout out. I'll be calling you the next day or so, okay?
All right. Yeah,
Sounds good.
sure.
Perfect. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Good night.